Hi everyone, I'm Susan Mulvihill and I'm back out in our orchard today. I wanted to talk with you about growing cherries. You know, the most frustrating thing about growing them is those disgusting little worms you find inside. Ew! Now there's all kinds of sprays you can use to prevent this problem, but we wanted to go with an organic method. And the great news is it's easier than you might think. Those little worms are actually the larvae of the cherry fruit fly, and to be successful at controlling them, it's really important that you understand their life cycle. In the spring, the fruit flies emerge from the soil and they mate. The female lays an egg in several cherries by penetrating the skin of each one. Once that happens, there's nothing you can do about worms in the cherries. The worm hatches and feeds on the cherry, and then 2 to 3 weeks later, the larvae drop down to the ground to pupate in the soil, where they will remain until the following spring. In the spring, they emerge from the soil as adult flies, they mate, and start the cycle all over again. Now let's think about that in terms of what's happening with the tree. In early spring, the tree blooms. Where are the fruit flies? They're still in the ground. When the blossoms drop, they're still in the ground. When the cherries are small, hard, and green, they're still in the ground. Once the cherries start turning yellow and softening up a bit, that's when they emerge from the soil. They mate, and the female lays an egg in each cherry. About 3 weeks later, the larvae drop to the ground. In the late summer, what's happening with the insect? It's in the ground. In the fall, still in the ground. And in the winter, still in the ground. So my point is that there's just this small window of time where you can interrupt this cycle. After the fruit fly has emerged, they fly up into the tree and will drink moisture off the leaves for nourishment. Our job is to put a spray on those leaves to kill the flies before they can mate. When the cherries are still green and hard, you need to put out a cherry fruit fly trap, which you can find at garden centers and online, and watch the trap carefully. They are coated with a sticky substance. The fruit flies are attracted to the yellow color on the trap because they think it's a cherry. I think they need glasses. Once you see any fruit flies on the trap, that means you need to spray your cherry tree. I want to clarify that these traps are not for controlling the flies, but rather as an indicator that the fruit flies have emerged from the soil. We use an organic spray that has the active ingredient of spinosad in it. Spinosad is a natural substance that is manufactured by soil bacteria and is toxic to certain insects, including cherry fruit flies. Yay! You do not want to use spinosad around blooming flowers because it will kill pollinators. But the good news is that when you need to spray your cherry trees, the flowers are long gone. We mix 1 cup of apple juice to 1 gallon of the spinosad mixture, and we spray it on all of the leaves. Always follow the labeled directions because that is so important. We spray at 7-day intervals, and we stop spraying 2 weeks before we want to harvest the cherries. Harvesting cherries is always an exciting time, but there's an important thing you want to remember. Make sure that you harvest all of the cherries off the tree, and also make sure that you pick up any cherries that have dropped to the ground. There's always a chance that there's a straggler in there that's going to hatch later, and you definitely don't want to perpetuate the problem. At harvest time, you should have worm-free cherries, although there might be a few that got past you. I hope this video was helpful. If you'd like more information on growing tree fruit organically, go to my website, susansinthegarden.com, and look under the Guides menu. You'll see a section called Organic Pest Control, and it's filled with all kinds of helpful information. Happy gardening!